Welcome to the Bike Guru. In this video we will show you how to properly adjust the front derailleur or front mech. Having problems with the rear mech, you must click here. Now, focusing on the front mech, we have three adjustments. The first one is the H screw, the second is the L screw, and the third one is the cable tension. If you watched our last video, you will know about the H in the L screw. The H screw limits the front mech so that the chain doesn't come off of the big ring here. The L screw limits the front mech so that the chain doesn't come off the first sprocket when you have shifted on the first gear. Now you should shift to the third gear and pedal in order to set up properly the H screw. If your bike can't shift to the third gear, there is a possibility that the H screw is too tight. If you can shift to the third gear, the biggest chain sprocket, then you should take the H screw and undo it so that the front mech is not limiting the chain from going to the biggest sprocket. If your chain comes off the biggest sprocket on the right side, then you need to turn this H screw clockwise so that it limits the front mech. Now, going on the first gear, we will set the L screw. If your bike can't shift to the first gear, you must undo the L screw, like we said before for the H one. And if your chain comes off and goes on the frame, then you should turn the screw clockwise so that it limits the front mech from going beyond the first gear. Well, have in mind that when you set these two limiters, the chain must be just about to touch the front mech. Well, now let's see an example. In our case, we have the second gear and now we want to shift to the third gear. While we pedal, we try to push the lever to go to the third gear, but our chain doesn't go. So we need to undo the H screw. We will turn it one turn counterclockwise and try to shift again. Now our chain tries to jump on the third gear but still doesn't. We will undo it a little more. And now our chain has shifted to the third gear. While shifting on the rear gears on the smallest sprocket, we will see that our chain just touches the front mech. So we need to undo a little more the H screw so that the chain moves freely and doesn't touch the front mech. You will set the L screw just like this for limiting the front mech on the smallest sprocket. Now let's see how we will set up the cable tension. In most cases, you don't have to undo the screw that releases the cable from the front mech. You will only need to adjust properly the screw that is located either here in the front mech or at the shifter in the front of the bike. In our case, this screw is located on the front of the bike on the shifter. This is the screw that we're interested in. While turning the screw counterclockwise, it will raise the tension on the screw and move the front mech to the right side, going to the biggest sprocket. Let's see an example. We have set the second gear on the front chain ring and we need to properly adjust the tension so that the chain doesn't touch the front mech. We have the chain touching the upper limit of the front mech, so that we need to raise the cable tension to get the mech come a little to the right. We are turning the screw at the shifter counterclockwise, and now the clicking sound stops. Right now we have set the top gear on the rear cassette and we just shift to the first gear on the rear cassette just to make sure that the chain doesn't touch the lower barrier of the front mech. Having set it properly, you will not hear any strange sounds, and your gears will shift immediately, while the chain doesn't come off on the right side or the left side at the front crank. We need to set to the second gear and then watch about the distance that the front mech has from the chain ring. This distance must be approximately 3 mm. As you can see, it almost touches the front mech. And of course, the front mech is properly aligned with the chain ring, the biggest sprocket. If you need to make any changes to the alignment of the front mech, you should undo this screw that is located right here, and then move the front mech upwards or downwards, or tilting it left or right to properly align to the biggest sprocket. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button to get informed about the videos we upload each week. Have a great time and get your bike out!